Hey folks, I am here to give you a review of the Maximum Series, the Marvel Legends Maximum Series Spider-Man. Now, many of us, I'm sure you'll be aware, have had, a few questions. We've been eagerly looking for this thing. I know, well, eagerly awaiting this thing. I don't know if it's been all that hard to find, but I know many of us have been going, okay, we've seen how lovely it's going to be. We've also seen the price tag. How are those things going to reconcile? So, look, I thought it'd be worth showing you guys this thing. Look, I've already taken it out of the package, obviously. Be a bit ripped off if that was all there was, but look, it's very nice. They've modelled it on been very outspoken and saying like they've modelled it on the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man, and I do think they've done a very good job. I was a huge Todd McFarlane Spider-Man guy back in the day because I'm very old and I was reading it at that time. So, look, I'm just going to start with, here is the figure. What sets this guy apart? Yes, they've done a lot of, supposedly they've retooled a lot of things, which, they appear to have been stuck to their word with that. But one of the things is all the stuff it comes with, which is, look, by and large, they are very nice things. You've got, let's just shove this to one side, put this guy, I'm just going to put him over here because I have found when I was trying to shoot these things before, the camera really only wanted to focus on him, on the figure, which I guess I understand that. They've programmed the AI or whatever it is to go, look for a human figure and concentrate on that. So it comes with a lot of stuff, which is, the big selling point for someone like me, because a big question I had with this thing is, does it then bridge the gap for those of us who've bought, the likes of Marfex and stuff like that, the ones who've, because you got to part with a bit of coin for those Marfex things. So, does it provide an alternative? So, look, there's a lot of stuff which is very nice, but yeah, a lot of this will come down to personal taste and so forth. But you get all sorts of things. But for the moment, I'm just going to sweep all that aside again. I'm probably not the best in the world at doing these things yet, but that's okay. Let's just get him back again. Now, the figure itself is very nice. One of the things, the things that they had boasted with this thing, they were going back to the old days, and something we don't see very often in the Marvel Legends stuff, and that's double-hinged neck, which is very nice. It's very good for getting a lot of expression into the figure and a lot of movement into something like Spider-Man. I will say there is not as much movement as I would have expected out of this thing. Mind you, you can do something like give it a bit of a spin, because the way this is worked, he seems to have a hinge up there. So if you turn the head, the neck will, whether you can tell what's going on, the neck will turn with it. So what you can do in these situations, if you want him to do something like this, you can do that, and then you can get sort of an up and down, a bit more of an up and down movement with the neck, and do that sort of stuff. Yeah. It's still, you're still getting more expression in than you usually do on a Spider-Man, I guess. Yeah, like the sort of butterfly we would expect on one of their more standard Spider-Man figures. Very nice movement here in ye olde torso. Is still they do have the only twist you get is at this top point. Down here is strictly just for the ab crunch. So, it'd be lovely if we could, go back to a bit of waist swivel as well. But how much do we ask for, I guess, and how much is it cost effective to give us, I suppose. But very nice. Look, working drop down hips there. That's very nice. Yeah, you've got the boot swivel, which is good. I'm sure all of us, we get a bit sparing. We use the boot swivel a bit sparingly because it sort of breaks the thing up, But it's nice to have it there. The top of the thigh swivel, which is great because then you don't have to rely on that boot swivel so much if you can do a bit of that, which isn't as obvious. The regular Legends, one thing I have found with this thing, you don't get as much, that's pretty much a standing angle is pretty much as much. Oh no, you can get it up a little bit further than I thought. So there you go. There's a little bit more in there than I thought. Plenty of that. Plenty of toe pointy. But you know what? One of the things, I don't know if you can see this, when you use the toe articulation, lovely to have toe articulation. Oh, look, marvellous, toe articulation. But look at this. Use the toe articulation. They haven't chamfered that corner. So, you want to, yes, you've got your toe articulation, but if you have him standing that way in a very Spider-Man-y looking thing, he's got a tiny little high heel there, so it won't sit flat. Then I'm just going, come on, folks. I'm trying to be as fair as possible, but could you just get that basic thing right? If you could help me out with that? Yeah. So these things can seem nitpicky, but we part with a bit of coin to get this thing. But lovely array of hands. This thing is nice where how you can take the forearm off and have your web shooters. If you're an old guy like me, they used to do this quite a bit in the 80s and 90s. I'm not sure whether they do it so much now. I don't know. I don't read as much current stuff nowadays. But this was awesome. It just breaks things up and makes it a bit more interesting when he pulls the gloves off and has this. And he's not just he's got one when he's checking out the old thwippy, checking out the button, see how well the button's working. That's great. Another one here when he's just going, let's just have a look at it. Doesn't that look great? Aren't I a genius that I made these things? Fantastic. So nice to have them. But we've got, look, we do have a lot of stuff. And I think if you guys are anything like me, this is what we've come for. For this figure, these items, I'm just going to put a few things aside. These are the things we have turned up for this figure. We've got heads. And a bit of a curiosity with the heads with this thing. Bit of a curiosity. There's head number 1. Lovely. Head number 1. There's head number 2. Yeah, I could probably do with a little bit more lighting actually, but yeah. So I guess what you could say is this figure, they've given you a spare head. How many figures can boast that? Spare head, if you lose one, you've got another one that's almost exactly the same. Yeah, lovely. The Peter Parker head, that's a lovely thing, Again, Pete from the Pete from the 80s, I think. Yeah. Bit of John Romita with the hair. Lovely. And look, he's a man who keeps himself good. Always got a comb on him, which is lovely. Except for those little bits at the front, they just don't want to be controlled. But I like it. I like this Pete head. I do like it. Look, I really do want to keep going on about these things. I really do want to show you some more of the... But there are a couple of things here that I am a bit... look at this. They've given us a stand. Lovely. What a lovely thing to have a stand. But that is the stand. That's the stand. And we've got this. And that's, see, the stand, you're just going to scratch your head. Okay, what's going on there? That's for, there's one thing that it works for, and it's this. Now, looking at we'll call it the spider glob. Let's call it the spider glob. Big, which he does do. He does do a bit of, impact webbing. That's a pretty damn big one. Now, what we've got is, we've got the spider glob. You put it on the stand. This is the stand that it works. This is the only one of these things that it works for. You've put it on the stand. You've put Spider-Man in front of it. Oh dear. Oh dear. This raises a few questions for me. This raises questions that I'd like answers to. What was the thinking here? Look, you can use it. It's the you've got Spider. You could say, you know what, he shoots from the hip. He likes to shoot from the hip. If you're someone who goes, right, we've got this thing, I've paid for a stand, I'm going to use the stand. I paid good money. Right, so you can say, you know what, Spider-Man, he shoots from the hip. Great, shoots from the hip. So then, who are you going to use it with? What are you going to do? Spider-Man, he is shooting at someone who is very, very short, someone who's sitting down, perhaps. He's shooting at another Marvel Legends, maybe. And you've just got to reconcile with the fact that Spider-Man is a lot less sportsmanlike than we would have thought. So there it is. We've got the moon. If that was a reference, if for any of you who don't know that, there's a video game called Marvel Legends, and no, not Marvel. This is a figure line called Marvel Legends. There's a game called Marvel Rivals, and it's actually very fun. We play it around here. And one of the things is they have it's essentially a third person shooter, and you run around as Marvel characters, and they've translated them really well. And one of the things that they have when they use an ultimate attack, the one that charges up over time and does all sorts of damage, there's always a little sentence that they say that goes along with it. Fear Magneto, or maximum pulse for Iron Man. And Moon Knight is, the moon haunts you. So there you go. The moon would stop haunting. Then one of the most satisfying and fun things in the game is when you interrupt, when you KO a hero when they're halfway through doing their ult, because you're not only sparing your team a lot of damage, it's funny. So the moon haunts you. So here it's going to be a Well, no matter which way you do it, it's going to be a "the moon haunts you," ooh, or it's going to be a "the moon haunts you." Ah! It's whatever you're going to, however it's going to go. So yeah, I've got questions there. What happened? What happened? What were they going for? It makes me wonder if, one day the Marvel Legends, the Legends team, were in the Maximum team, were in the Maximum office, and and they've got the big idea. Hey, let's have a stand. Let's have a stand. And then Nathan, he says, right, I'm going to go to the stand guy, organise a stand. So he's walking down the office. They're walking down the corridor, and he gets an alert on his phone. What? I don't know, what? 4 for the price of 1 at Cinnabum or something. He's going, I'm out of here. Brilliant. So he just flings the door open to the stand guy and says, we need a stand. You got till 5 p.m. I'm out of here. And the guy says, what sort of stand? No time for questions. I'm gone. And he's gone. And then he's just left with the poor old stand guy. He's just hearing car doors slamming and tires screeching. And then he just starts to stew. He starts to get angry then. So then what? An hour later, he storms into the poor old Maximum people, throws this down on the frickin' desk. There you go. You wanted a stand? There's your stand. And the Maximum people are going, what's this? No time for questions. Then he storms out. And they're left with this. Poor old Maximum people are left with that. And they're going, well, but what do we do now? We had this, this thing that, we had made up for the Planned Parenthood, interactive seminars, and you said it'd be all right to use it as a spider glob. No problem, you said. And now this. And the guy said, well, of course there wasn't a problem. We didn't have this to contend with. Now, look at this. No one had any questions about it. You didn't have any questions about it. Until this thing. And now, what? Perfect storm. Nothing but questions now. So everyone's angry now. Nathan's, he's nowhere to be found. He's gone to hospital. He went to Cinnabum and said, oh, here you got 4 for the price of 1. Yeah, we're doing that. Well, I'm buying 10, so make it 40. He's scarfed them all down. His blood's turned into Mountain Dew. Now he's off at the hospital getting his stomach pumped. And bloody the poor old Maximum guys, they're going, geez, Conrad, the stand guy's usually really nice. Now he's nothing but anger. Conrad's walking around slamming doors and stomping through the office, seething. So now they're stuck with this, and everyone's too scared to talk about it because the office has turned toxic. So that's what's going on. They got the spider glob on the, got you in the nuts stand, and that's what they're stuck with. No one can talk about it. Nathan's nowhere to be found. Conrad's stomping around the office, slamming doors. They're buggered. So there you go. So that's what they've ended up with. So this, I don't know. This is not, let's just say, this is not what we've come for this, no pun intended, for this figure. Now, we're going to put this to one side. If only we didn't have this as well. See, this is, it's like, with these things, it's like they went, you know what, there's more, even if all that stuff didn't happen, it's like they've gone, there's space in the package, like, what do we give them? And it's this. So we got the even if you put the spider glob and the gotcha nut stand aside, now you got this. And they're going in the office, well, you were going to do this. What's this for? Is it And it's a, oh, my eyes thing for Spider-Man to put over someone's face. But then you're going, well, hang on, it's so big compared to what do you do with it? And the same guy who had the problem with that. Now he's looking at this thing and he's going, are you sure this isn't something for a gentleman to put over the end of his thing when he's going to a adults only Spider-Man themed Halloween party? No, they say no, it's definitely not that. Definitely not that. Oh, well, fine, great. We won't worry about that anymore. No further cause for concern. So there's those things. But what I will say I do like is this. I'm just going to pause and say I've not done a ton of figure reviews. It is possible I might digress away from the point every now and again, but I do beg your indulgence that because I am a figure enthusiast, and I can guarantee that I've got a lot of years and passion with figures and stuff, comics and stuff like this. So there is, by and large, there's a point to what I'm saying. So what I am saying is it also comes with a shield, a web shield. And you know what? I don't know why, but I really like it because I'm an old school... It makes me think of the old Marvel versus Capcom, video game, in which it was a really lovely, very comic-y animated arcade game in the 90s, and you would have... This was Spider-Man's block. He would come along and do all sorts of jumpy, kicky, punchy things, and then, like with Mortal Kombat, when you pushed backwards on the stick to get him to move backwards, this would be his block. He'd throw up the spider shield, he'd do a beautiful Spider-Man, legs akimbo, legs, in all sorts of direction, and it just looked super cool. He'd while Psylocke was hammering him with psychic knives or whatever. So this was his block, and it really reminds me of that. They've done a lovely little web shield, and you know what? I like it. This is one of the accessories, and these things are all personal taste, of course. For me, I like it. They've done a good job of it. He really looks like you could set him up if you take more than 3 seconds, like I just did. You could really do a lovely Marvel versus Capcom Spider-Man web shield blocky block pose. So web shield aside, let's have a look at what I feel we've really turned up for this figure. With lovely articulation, very true aesthetically to old Todsley, McFarlane, little costume stretchy bits. I suppose. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. But look, let's have a look at the other things that we've really turned up for. El Staffo. Right. Now we've had a look at the spare head. It's all very nice, but almost exactly the same. We've had a look at Pete's head. Very nice. And look, you know what? We've had a look at these hands. We've had a look at Pete's head. Let's do a little bit of changeover. So you can have a look. Why not? Why not? That's what you've turned up for. Going, mate, let's see what they look like on him. Why not? Why not? And that's what he'd look like if he was Superman, I guess. Jesus, whatever, one of the two. So let's just get these off. One there. One here. Oh, got it. Oh. Right, there we are. And look at that. That, I think, is a cracker. Absolutely. I really do like this option for Pete. He's looking at that, going, you know, what a clever boy I am. I put these things together. There's the thing. The button's still there. Looking over there, the button's still there. I can even touch it. And there's the web fluid. So for a guy of my vintage, this was a big thing back in the 80s. I'm not sure if they do it so much now, but there was a lot of web fluid storytelling. That was how, you know, if he lost fights, he'd go up against the Green Goblin. Oh dear, I've run out of web fluid. And I tell you what, if you played the Atari 2600 Spider-Man game in the 80s, you know how precious web fluid is. It's a hell of a game back in the 80s. So you're basically a bunch of pixels that's Spider-Man, and you're just swinging up a building and continually losing web fluid. So it's one of the main mechanics of the game. So there you go. So for someone like me, I love this. This is really a standout for me. Now, another standout, I've got to say, this is something I was looking forward to big time, is these hands. These hands. Thwippy hands with a bit of web on it. Absolutely marvellous. Absolutely marvellous. One there, another one there, and they've even made them different. Look at that. Look at that. Thwippy hand, webby's coming out. Those are some lovely posing options. Lovely posing options. And I will say, just out of interest, and they also give you two. Actually, this is a pretty good way of showing these things off. Really? Very nice. Either they give you a couple of wall crawlers, which is wonderful, expressive wall crawler / expression hands. So you get those. And this is another thing that is setting the Maximum apart. As you would know, one of the things that Hasbro has been doing, especially nowadays, they've hit upon this idea, apparently, seemingly, that they're going, you know what, for a Spider-Man, all he needs is 2 thwippers. He only needs 1 crawly expressive and 1 fist. So that's what we got with this guy and, well, many other Spider-Man. This was a lovely one. You know, I know a lot of people didn't like that head, and yeah, maybe it is. You know, it's definitely a personal taste. I actually like it. But this body was fantastic, and that's one of the. This is actually a Spider-Man body that I look at when I'm going, okay, how much better is this one? This was one of the ones I had in mind. But he came with 1 crawly and 1 fist like that, and a couple of thwippers. So there would certainly be those of us who go, you know what, a Spider-Man should come with 2 crawlies, 2 fists, 2 thwippers. He's a dynamic fella. He's always doing different stuff. But you know, the reality is that now that's just not what happens. So I guess is everything goes up and whatever. So, and this guy, he does have two. They haven't just gone, you know what? They've got the thwippers with the webs. We'll just give them. That'll do it. No, they have also given us just a regular old thwippy and a another thwippy that is a little bit different, a little bit more of a Todd McFarlane-y looking thing, a bit more expressive in a way. But you know, it's well, maybe not expressive, but he's doing different stuff. You know, he's not always doing exactly the same thing with his fingers when he's hitting the button. You know, so there's that. So he's got his two fists, and he has these. So he has many hands, and he has these, which are webby holding hands, because one of the other nice. Oh, that's a fist. Hang on. Obviously, where is the other webby holdy? Oh, there's the other one. So they're the same. Webby holdy hands, lovely. And they are for holding the other accessory that I think is quite cool, which is the spider web. You know, it's a little bit on the thick side, but you know, sometimes old Todsley would draw it. It would be quite thick. When you looked at it, it would be quite thick. So, is this gonna focus? So look at that. It certainly is done in the lovely convoluted way that Todd used to do his web. So it's very nice in that respect. It is very boing. It's very you know, I'm an older guy now, so that seems completely normal to me. And what you can do is, and so you would think, you know what, it's really good for doing a bit of this, wrapping around. If you're willing to put the time in, you can have it wrapping around, doing all sorts of things like Todd used to do. They're not super long. They're pretty long. And when I first looked at it, I thought, you know what, there's no way you're going to have real swinging poses because it's just too floppy. But what I did find, when you put it in his hand, it does actually. You can have a bit of that going. So if you have him swinging, you could set up a pose with this so that it looks like he's swinging, and the web he is swinging on a web that is just going off camera. When you get up that, yeah, you can even have that much, and it will still be straight. So that what I'm getting at. That's his right arm, because they are different. You know, they've sculpted them properly. They are different. There is definitely a right and a left. So you can have him doing maybe a swing. And if he's swinging around with no mask, you can have it so that he's swinging, and it's like the things coming out of. Oh, it is getting a little bit floppy there. Maybe a little bit less than that. But you can have it so it will look straight from the right angle. So it looks like he's swinging on it, and then the rest of this is doing loopy Todd McFarlane sort of stuff, if you can see what I'm getting at there. And the thing that sets these ones apart is they hinge like a gun hand. So all the other hands hinge the way you would normally expect them. They to go up and down. Oh, God, I'm not very good at this. So there's the peg, there's the thwippy, and then you just go, and then if he's going to do the thwippy, up into the sky. So there's but these ones, the ones that hold the web, which is, they've definitely done the right thing with that. They've definitely done the right thing. There's the web holding hand, and this peg rotates vertically. So you can have him doing that thing with the arm, which is very nice. Okay, so this is where we get to the questions. This is where we get to the question value. Now, lots of people will go, hey, this is twice the price of a Marvel Legends, which I certainly do. This is twice the price. Are we getting twice the value? So I actually think it's a crying shame what they've done with this. It's a crying shame because they've given us a lovely array of hands, of fun accessories, the spare head, which is almost exactly the same, and it doesn't really matter if you lose one. How did I not show you this? This is another thing that I was really looking forward to. How did I not show you this? Ye olde spider sense. Oh my God, what the hell is going on? So this is something I was looking forward to. And look, I will say to you, I'll tell you the sort of thing that you hear in these reviews every now and again. It don't quite look like this in real life, because what's going on here, I've got the lamp right above with Gru the Wanderer hanging off it. And it is definitely casting quite a shine off the edge of the plastic. So in regular light, in the flesh, in the plastic, you're not seeing the very pronounced edge around the plastic that you're seeing. And you know what? Maybe you're looking at that going, well, that looks better. I like seeing the clear the edge of the clear plastic, because that adds to the effect. I'll put a light right behind him, or right over at the top of him. So look, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. So the question is that I want to address: does this make him worth twice as much as a regular Marvel Legends? And I think you've actually got to be fair with this. You've got to compare apples with apples. I look at this. I look at what's in here. I look at this. I try not to look at the more questionable accessories. And I say, you know what, for me, it sort of is, because what you've got to do if you're going to be realistic, about these things, if you're going to start, and I'm not trying to take sides or anything, but I do believe in trying to be fair. If you're going to start going, okay, there's all this stuff, there's him, but he's twice the price, then you've got to go, you know what, over here is a Marfex Spider-Man. This is my Marfex symbiote Spider-Man. I love him. Love him to death. Absolutely love him. He came with lots of hands. He came with a Pete Parker head. He came with a web backpack that I'm never going to use. But, gee, I wonder if the backpack will go on this guy. Oh, they're not going to have... Oh, that's interesting. I've not thought about that. He had these things. He's got the magnetic hands, which is lovely, but he hardly holds on to anything, I've got to say. I love the idea of magnetic hands and feet, but boy, oh boy, I can't really get him to hang on to anything without fear of him falling off and breaking one of his wrist pegs or something. But in terms of what the Marfex have that the Marvel Legends don't have, they also have hip rotation, like full 360 hip rotation, and that gives you this sort of thing if you're someone who wants to put Spider-Man's legs up in the air, which is lovely. But then you look at the Legends, you look at this Maximum Legends, and you go, okay, this is not giving me the twist, and it's not giving me the tilt at the wrist, at the waist. But what it is giving you, it's given you a ton of, look at that, it's giving you a ton of, with the drop-down hips, of legs in the air, of Todd McFarlane crazy legs, giving you a lot of opportunity for Todd McFarlane crazy legs. Look at that. So, there are certainly aspects of both. And look, the Marfex Spider-Man, particularly this one, they're always very lean, which is, he was quite lean, but they're all very lean. And the thing with the Legends, and this one's not crazy muscly, but they tend to have been working out a bit more. The Legends Spider-Man figures, they tend to have been hitting the gym a bit more than the Marfex ones. But this is the question. So this is the question. This is where I go, okay, you really need to be fair. I paid twice as much for this as I paid for this. But this came with the two hands he's got and tooth whippers. That's it. This guy, as I said, twice as much for this guy, but all of that, which are lovely options. Then the unmentionables, but this thing, which came actually by rights, he came with less interchangeable options than this guy, and he cost me twice as much as not quite twice as much, but getting on to twice as much as this guy. So, if you're gonna, to be fair, if you're gonna start asking these hard questions of the Marvel Legends Maximum Spider-Man, by rights, you've got to ask those same hard questions of the Marfex one. Is he worth twice as much as him? I think in terms of options, yes. Is he worth nearly twice as much as him? You know what? I don't think so. So, by rights, if we're going to go, hey, all this stuff that shouldn't be twice the price. But if you look at the reality, this guy, 4 times as much as this. 4 times as much. Does this guy, with all of this, have a right to exist in the middle? And I think yes. I think he does. With all these things he's coming with. What I really do wish, what I really do think would have been a great idea for them is, let's get rid of these. Let's not have all the awkward questions. I wish that Nathan or Ernie or whoever, whatever name, I forget what I called him, the guy who went to Cinnabum for the 4 for the price of 1 and got 40 and overdosed and his blood turned into Mountain Dew and he had to go to hospital to get his stomach pumped. I wish he had taken a moment to talk properly to Conrad in the stand office and give us something like, hang on a second. And give us something like this. This is just an El Cheapo that I got on eBay. Not all that much for a set of 5 or 10 or whatever it is. And look at that. Da-da-da-da. Bit of that, bit of that. One of them. Oh, actually. Oh, no, this is a Marfex one. Oh, this is a Marfex one. I got one, yeah. This is better than the El Cheapo one. Yeah. So, and look, this, yeah, now we're back at my comparing apples with apples, be fair argument. This guy came with this, which makes an enormous difference. It makes an enormous difference. You can do stuff. You can do. I'm jumping around a little bit here. I have not got the. Oh well, I could just do this. Just do this, mate. Just do this. You can do. Let's just do a little bit of a. Let's just do a little bit of a quick. Oh God. With the Marfex thing, then you can do that. You know? What a difference. What a difference. If only Ernie or Nathan hadn't caused all that trouble in the office and we ended up with these. And if they could have given us something like this, just something close would have been all right. Doesn't have to be as good, but let's just forget those things. Forget the other things. Give us a proper stand. If only there hadn't been that terrible breakdown in communication. This could have been an amazing, because if this thing had all this stuff and a stand, whereby you could strike the Todd McFarlane stuff and put him on a stand. Do the Todd McFarlane stuff and then do that. I promise it will, whatever. So yeah, put him in the air. Lovely. If only you could do that as well. And it just seems like, you know, if they really had already had this done up for the Planned Parenthood interactive seminars, I don't know, fine, they've saved money there. But what is this? Oh God! Even if they ditched, the web is nice. I mean, it's very thick. But you can do web because this. I'll just show you this. This is my Legends. This is my Maximum Legends symbiote. Not the Secret Wars one. This is the one from a couple of years ago. This is the one from a few years ago. And you can just do up a bit of web yourself. I make that web out of those little wire tie things you get on the end of bread bags that they do in bakeries. You just cut a bit of the external part off, and then you just twist them up really, really tight, and then you can twist them together. and actually it is the twisting together of them that give them the web look, because you get bits, intertwined around other bits. If it'll focus, which I don't think it will. I think it just wants to focus on my fingers. So I will get the fingers out of the way and see if I can focus on the web. Oh, God. There. Oh, my God. There it is. So that's what you can do just with those little pipe. We used to call them pipe cleaners when we were kids. I don't think we were right. So there. That's what you can do. But when you've got a stand. Oh, it's on top of the web. Oh, bloody hell. I'm not the best at this, but that's what you can do when you got a stand. So just give us one of those, for God's sake. Oh my God, just give us one of those. Right. So, in short, the learnings. In short, I really like the figure. I do look like many people. I will look at this and go, oh my God, it's twice the price of a Legends. But then I go, well, this thing is about 4 times the price of a Legends. So maybe he's not so bad after all. He's a lovely figure. And in some ways, I prefer the aesthetics of the figure to the Marfex one. But to wrap up, we're now into the learning part of this review. We're into the learning part. I'm a very old man now. I'm old. There are very few things that I can offer the world now, save for some life experience. So I'm saying it's never too late to bring up a problem. It's never too late. You're sitting in the office and you're looking at this. It's never too late. No matter how angry Conrad is, even if Nathan's in the hospital getting his stomach pumped, it's never too late to bring this up as a problem. Voice those opinions. Voice those opinions. Don't be beaten down by a toxic work environment. And I'm also going to say, and look, I've got to be honest. I shouldn't be leading you up the garden path. Sometimes if you are standing in the office, if you're standing on the factory floor, and the things are in the packaging, the things that you're worried about, they've already been manufactured. They're in the plastic, they're in the boxes, and they're all ready to go out to the shops. Then, it's too late. You should have voiced. You've done your dash. If they've been manufactured, they're packaged, and they're going out to the shops, it's too late. So those are the two. As an older guy who's been around the block a few times, that's what I'm saying to you. These are the key learnings to take away from this review. 1, it's never too late to bring up a problem if you're concerned about it. Toxic workplace or no, it's never too late. Number 2, you've got to raise problems when you've got the chance, because otherwise it's going to be too late. So, key learnings. So this is what you're coming for. Action figure reviews, bit of lore, most importantly, learnings on life. So I hope I have fulfilled what you were looking for. If there is anyone in the world who's still watching now, you have my heartfelt thanks. Thank you very much for those who've listened or watched or whatever, and I hope to be sending you another review in the near future of something, or maybe it'll be ROM. I bought the ROM, and I tell you what, I was a ROM guy when I was a kid, and if there's one figure that I never expected to see, because he was always, caught up in litigation and all that sort of stuff, I never expected to see one of them. So maybe the next one will be ROM. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.